Hello and welcome back to my videos. I'm Klepik and today I will be showing you how to make some Y2K indie website stamps for your own characters, all while being stuck behind several old screens. Can someone get me out, please? First of all, what are stamps? We're not talking about mailing stamps in this case, though making physical stamps and putting them on letters as decoration would be pretty cool. But anyway, stamps are like digital stickers, most commonly used during the early 2000s websites, blogs, forums, personal websites, etc., but are still pretty commonly used today. They usually have big bold letters with sayings or information about whoever posted them. They're usually very loud, very bright, and very blurry due to their small size. Typically, stamps are pretty simple, just 2-panel animations, super easy and super simple, but of course, you can always go above and beyond. They can range in size, but most are known to be very small, and the ones we'll be making today are going to be 105 by 55 pixels large. Basically, they're little digital stickers used to express yourself. And what better way of expressing yourself is there than showing off your creation, your passion, in a tiny little animated box with flashing colors? Yay, self-expression and creativity! Let's get to actually making them. Now, through absolute trial and error, I have come up with the best tutorial for making these guys. This way is how you can comfortably draw your characters and still be able to downsize them to a stamp's size and still be able to have them be legible. First, ideas. What character are you going to make a stamp of? Shoot, oh my gosh, what are you even going to put for text? Okay, so maybe we should go through some examples of stamps first so we can get some ideas. Good thing I have my trusty dusty websites and stamps archive in hand ready to go. I will be sure to link some sites I've been able to find with some pretty big archives of stamps, but you can also do some digging yourself. Deviant has plenty of stamps to send you down an insanely specific rabbit hole. But if those don't help, I will have some stamps archives compiled in the description of this video. These can give you some pretty good ideas for stamps to make of your own characters. Think quotes from them, really outlandish things, personality traits of theirs, relationships, or whatever else you can come up with after being inspired by these. Alright, now we can actually get on to making these. The biggest workaround when it comes to stamps is their incredibly tiny size. 105 by 55 pixels is not a lot of canvas space. If you're a god at pixel art, then you can probably just go with that, but those of us who aren't, aka me, we're gonna start off with a really big canvas to draw on. I typically use canvases that are 1050 by 550 pixels in size. So just adding a 0 onto your actual dimensions and you are set. This gives you a lot more wiggle room in your drawing rather than just using a 105 by 55 pixel canvas. Since these are going to be incredibly downsized though, we need to be really intentional with what we're drawing. Everything needs to be incredibly exaggerated to be able to read at such a small size later. I recommend not even rendering or going into detail on these since when you downsize them, most of the detail will be lost. I also used pretty thick lines on my drawings as well, just so they could easily be read from a small size. Be extra careful with your writing. I learned the hard way that your writing has to be extra legible and extra thick to be read once you downsize it. While you're drawing, keep in mind the subtle changes you could do to easily animate it. For example, I did a 2-frame pencil snap on this one. I made the text change colors and their blush increase a little on this one. And on this one, I made them a 2-frame biting motion. Honestly, for these, you don't need an animation program. All I did for most of these was flatten the drawing and duplicate it onto another layer to do my changes to animate it really quickly. Alright, so by now, we are finishing up our 1 to 2 frame stamp drawing. Once we're done, we need to have a transparent border around our images. This is because of the stamp overlay we'll be editing onto our images. Now, the program I use to draw, Clip Studio, automatically lets you resize your image and give you a transparent border pretty easily, but I don't know what you guys are using to draw, so I'll show you how to do this on Ibis Paint, a free drawing software. Or app. Software or app, it's on an iPad, so I think app. Anyway, Once you're done drawing on Ibis Paint, or you've imported your drawings into Ibis Paint, all you need to do is adjust the border to give your drawings some space at the edges. I kept aspect ratio on when adjusting and just put the width to 1200 pixels, and it worked just fine. Then just turn the background transparent and export your drawings from there, and it should have a transparent border around it. Alright, so now we have our drawings completely completed. Now we get to put the stamp together. For the borders stamps have on them, I've linked a DeviantArt folder down below that has a ton of resources for stamp borders you can use. Just save one of the stamp border images it has, and then go to the website EasyGIF. Wow, we are just collecting links today, guys. Oh my gosh. Once on EasyGIF, click on the GIF Maker section. Now upload the drawings that you will be using for your stamp. Once they're uploaded, you'll see below the images is a delay. It's going to automatically go to 20, but I like to change mine to 50, usually for simple animations. The delay is basically the frames per second, the FPS. The bigger the numbers, the slower they change frames. One cool effect on this screen is also the crossfade frames. If you check the crossfade frames, your images will fade in between each other instead of just changing automatically like frame by frame animation. I used it for a couple of my own where I had to color change the text like this one. Once you're done messing with your delays or cross frames, if you want to use those, click the Make GIF. This will show you a ton of other tools to mess around with, most of which we will not use, but you can try if you want. Now here is where we finally resize our stamps to a proper size, as well as add the stamp overlay. First, click on the resize button and resize your GIF to 105 by 55 pixels. Then click Make GIF and go over to the overlays next. Upload your transparent stamp overlay, which will most likely not fit the ratio of your GIF. If that's the case, you can adjust its size and position to fit your GIF. And then you're done. Yay, you've made your own stamp! You can see how simple these are. They're simple and super fun to make, but it also gives you room to make pretty complex ones as well. I've made whole animations for some of them actually. Now here's the part of the video where I get to show you the ones that I made of my own characters and geek out on them. You have to stay for this part, by the way. Let me geek out over my characters on your screen. That is payment for this tutorial. Thank you. Alright, so first we have Bo's I Bite GIF. This was when I was experimenting with pixel art, since I thought I could get clear results from that and it would be a good way to make these, but then I realized I've never been good at pixel art and would not in fact enjoy making them this way. This one isn't really in character for Bo, maybe for Popstar, his musician identity, but I wanted to make it anyway because I wanted to live, laugh, and love with an I Bite animation of Bo. So let me live, laugh, love. Then we have Clown Lover. I had to do this. Very staple phrase that I saw a lot while looking through Blinkies and Stamps, so of course I had to do it with my own clown character, Dottie. I wasn't careful enough with my lines and lettering though, so it's not as legible as I would like it to be, but we're moving on anyway. RAR XD. I absolutely had to do that. I saw so many stamps like this, and I know Aria would love to be on a RAR XD stamp with blinding colors. She would definitely pose for that, she would definitely do the hand motions, and she would definitely love this. Also, I think it came out pretty legible, so good job me that I finally figured out how to do these well by this point. Lobotomy. MK Ultra experiments. Sensory deprivation. Muscle paralyzing movements. Here are my lesbians. I of course had to do a silly one with them and use this meme for the 50 billionth time because you cannot rip it away from my cold, dead, shriveled up hands. This is my favorite one. This is my favorite one by far. My character Fraser owns a 1978 yellow taxi cab and uses it for his job as an Uber driver. So I wanted to highlight that. I love all the pictures I added, like the real New York City pictures as a background, the image of the taxi cab moving, the smoke animations as the car moves, and especially the animation of Fraser coming into frame. Safe to say, I spent the most time and effort on this one, and I absolutely love how it came out. super fun. I hope I can come up with more ideas for more animation adjacent stamps for the future because this one was really fun. And it also shows how complex you can get these. Like I know I showed 2 frame animations, but this one was like 8 frames at the least. So you can get really in depth with these if you really want to. And lastly, we have Aria's toxic work mindset, where she must always be working on new music. Not much to say about it, honestly. It's very legible. I think it turned out well, and that's about it. That's all I have for this video. Please do let me know down below if you ended up doing this. I would love to be able to check them out. Feel free to tag me or mention me on your works if you do post them online to get my attention to look at them as well. Thank you so much for watching until the end. I really hope you enjoyed the video. I'm currently trying to grow my YouTube channel, so do be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to make me a very happy camper. Thank you so much for your support of my videos. It really does mean a lot to me, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Goodbye! Let me out of here, please. Please, wait. Let me out. I don't want to be stuck behind screens. Let me out!